Good morning, you guys. So we're getting straight into it in this episode. And the main topic is there is a track day coming up. There's a place by us in Florida called The Firm. It's Florida International Rally Motorsports. Like, they do rally stuff, but they also have a really nice road course. And they offer track days every month. So this is going to be my home testing ground for this car. The reason I'm bringing it up, and the reason why the title of this video is The Plan or something like that, is because I want to go. Juan, who you met in some previous videos, and Travis are really set on going to this event. Obviously, I would be going too, but this time around, I want to bring my own car. That's where I'm at. I don't have the car totally set up as a race car. Obviously, it's on stock suspension, stock engine. Everything is as it is when I bought the car. It's not like it's a race car, but I want to get out there. Some of you may be like, well, why in the world do you want to do that? The car's going to be terrible. It's not going to handle right. The engine's not fast. It's not a B series or whatever, you know, but that's not the point. For me, what I want to do is, you can almost look at it as like the Gran Turismo style for doing this whole project. In Gran Turismo, you buy a car and it's stock. You go out, you start racing it. It's like, yeah, it's kind of slow, but you start to learn the car. Then you start to get an idea of what you want to upgrade next. Hello, I'm just bringing this to reality. I really want to get out there, put this car through its paces as it is. And I'm sure a lot of people's opinions already are going to be, oh, it's going to be so slow. Oh, it's going to suck. Well, you know what? For me, I really don't think so. There is plenty of fun to be had in a stock D series. This is the stock suspension. They are stock all-season tires. That's the scariest part. I will be slipping and sliding, I'm sure. I really want to do this, you guys, and I want to prove to you all, too, that you can get out on track. No, you're not going to set the fastest times in the world, but that's irrelevant. I am not trying to be the fastest guy on the track in this car in its current state. It's just not going to happen. I know that. But I can go out there and do the best that I can, and I can try to get the most out of this car that is possible. The next time I go out, if it's still stock like this, then I'll be able to see if I can best my previous time. From there, I'm going to be looking into the upgrades. Suspension is obviously, like I've been saying, my #1 priority. I've got a really wicked set of coilovers in mind for this car, and I'm currently saving for them and getting close. Bushings, all the suspension stuff, then wheels and tires. This car would take on a life totally different than what it is now. As you're seeing through this episode, I'm just going through the basic little bits to get this car ready to get it out on track. Alright, so this is what I was kind of afraid of. The threads, I think, are definitely broken off on this lower one here. Not sure if you can quite see that like I am, but the bottom one here is definitely not as long as this guy here. So that thread is definitely broken off a bit in the rear. It's not crazy shorter, so I still think I may try to re-thread it, just see what happens. But right now I am going up to advanced. A couple things that I do want to make sure of, like simple thing, like make sure my battery is in good condition, that it's gonna be fine. I start this car roughly once a week, and it usually starts up right away. So it's not really giving me any reason to think that it's going bad, but I just wanna make sure, because how stupid would I look getting out to the racetrack and I gotta get my car jump started to get around? So that's not cool. So I'm gonna go up to advanced, get that checked, and then I also need to address the thermostat in the car. It always stays cold. I'll drive around for between 5 and 10 minutes and the car will still be cold. It's only after I start to get on it, when I'm putting around here, you know, that it'll start to go up to normal temperature. So I'm pretty sure that the thermostat is on the stuck open position. It's just letting coolant go as soon as I start the car. I need to go get a new thermostat. Like I said, check the battery. Probably also gonna get some coolant so that I can do a coolant flush on this car today as well. To show you, I've been driving the car for maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes now, and the temperature is just starting to come up, so that's one reason for the thermostat being changed out. In the parking lot, it advanced, and I got the gasket for my thermostat, and then I got the thermostat itself, 170 degrees. They made a couple different versions. One was 180, this one's 170, a little bit lower temperature, but it's still an OE temperature is what it said. Mishimoto makes like a racing one that is supposed to come on at a really low temperature, like 150 degrees I think it is, or just below that. But it's also 50 bucks. I didn't really want to get that. This one's $14. OE temperature will be just fine for going in this. I am waiting for the guy now. We're gonna test the battery and just make sure everything is square with that. The battery checked out good, very happy with that. I was pretty much certain that it was gonna, but good battery. Said it was from 2014. I feel comfortable with that now. And the guy wanted to buy the car from me, so no matter where I go with it, people want to buy, so that's cool. Yeah, it starts up like a champ every time. Okay, you guys, so one thing I was noticing when I was just driving back up to get here, of course, you know, full throttle the thing. So the car is back in limp mode. The check engine light is still on for the O2 sensor, so I mean that makes complete sense, but it was just revving to 5,500 again. So like I'm not nervous about that. Like I know once that's fixed it will go to 65. I think when Juan and I changed or disconnected the battery and reconnected it, you know, it takes time for the computer to run through its checks. And so when we were driving for that short 5-minute trip, it was revving all the way up, no problem. So it is back in limp mode here, but I am going to be trying to change out that O2 sensor. Maybe not today, but it will get done at some point. Something y'all have not seen on the car yet. Ta-da! Disc brakes. And just so y'all can see, when I say it is bone stock in the suspension area, it is bone stock. Obviously minus the new trailing arm with the disc brake. But changing out some bushings, camber kits obviously, and coilovers is on the menu coming up. Alright, so we are looking at this thread here. You see that it is definitely a bit shorter than the one behind it there, but I still feel like it can hold one of these lugs just fine. So I'm gonna give it a shot anyway. I got my tap and die set here, super cheap at Harbor Freight, 15 bucks for this whole set. And the piece that I'm looking for is this die is a M12 1.5. The 1.5 is the pitch of the threads, and the 12 I believe is the size, the overall diameter. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, most Honda Acura is M12 1.5. So you take this little guy, and then this tool here that you use to crank it around the threads. You put a die piece in the center of this guy, and then you turn it, and it cuts new threads. So just to show you that this is the correct one here, I take it and put it on an older, or one of the other threads. Sorry guys, it's really hard to talk and do this at the same time. Put it on, start threading it, and you see it goes on nice. So that's the idea. I'm gonna take it off and put it on this guy. Okay, so that tool they provide, this little guy here is nice, but it's not necessarily the best when you got the other studs sticking out. And obviously I could take the whole rotor off, but I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to do this without taking the rotor off. So I got my trusty vice grips here, and I got the piece on there, and it turns much better, much easier with these vice grips. Recutting the threads, I can feel that it's a little bit harder at the moment, but hey, it's freeing up. And wow, I can already see the rust off of it. Definitely, wow you guys, definitely recutting these threads. Super nice. Let's keep doing a couple passes on this. Make sure it is nice and cleaned up. It's getting smoother every time. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off and let you all see. See, it's still got a bit of the corrosion and stuff there, but I mean, geez, compared to what it was, so much nicer. So I get it. It still looks chewed up, but I'm gonna try to thread something on there now. So I'm gonna put this rear tire back on. That thread cutter, the die set, cut it really nice. So it is shorter, but I found this other lug that I have laying around, fits on there nice and smooth, and I think it'll be tight. So I'm gonna try the wheel and make sure of that. Okay, you guys, so they are all on. I'm super happy about that. That die tool worked amazing, cut the threads really well. There's plenty of meat to hold this new lug on there, so it's a little bit of a different size at the moment, but who gives a crap? I'm gonna be getting some nice, lug nuts for these eventually, when new wheels come especially. Silver against the black. So yeah, I'm super happy with that, you guys. It's all cut, all 4 lugs on there, ready to race. So next day, I'm gonna be going ahead and draining the coolant today and gonna be getting ready to tackle that thermostat issue. The car is jacked up. I'll give you a little bit of a look under here. See, it is all stock. Like I said, stockity, stockerson. So there is a bit of a oil leak going on. You can see all the nice glisten on the pan there. And I'm pretty sure that's where the main problem is coming from. There's a nice little drip right there coming from the drain bolt. You see it is pretty grody under here. And yeah, I could replace that. Like, I'm pretty positive that's where the leak's coming from. But I don't know that that's gonna be happening because I'm not sure how long this engine's gonna be staying. But just wanted to give you that quick look. I am gonna be messing with the bottom part of the radiator here. And this guy right here is the drain bolt. The coolant is gonna come out of this little spigot down into the bucket that I have over there. So let's get to that. Get my bucket and Go ahead and loosen the fill cap, the radiator cap up top. Now, I'm sure all of you know, but if some people are watching, do not do this when it is hot because you will burn the crap out of yourself. The engine is completely cold. It's been sitting all night for this case in particular. But yeah, never do it when it's hot. Got my nice new drain buckets. My old one was disgusting. This one, it's got the handle up top and you carry it as such so that the spigot here is not facing down. In my old bucket, it kept leaking out of it and it was freaking terrible. This thing was like $14 at Advance. If you're looking for a new bucket, this seems to be a very good design. Open this guy up down here where it's gonna drain into and get under the tire. Got the radiator cap off. That helps to create a flow when you go ahead and open up the spigot on the bottom. And that's what I am getting ready to do. Got my bucket in place, spigot, and go for the gold. If I can turn it. There we go. Starting. And nothing is happening. There we go. Car taking a pee. So I'm just going ahead and letting that drain. Probably gonna leave it open overnight even. I know I don't have to do that, but I'm gonna just let that drain out, and then I'm gonna be taking out the thermostat. You know, I know some coolant stays in the block after you stop the engine, so the thing's really starting to go. But I'm gonna be loosening up the bolts to take off the thermostat, and you'll see that, you know, it's obviously a coolant line, so some coolant can be stuck in there. Some of the videos I've watched on YouTube of people doing it, you know, they pull it off, it's like all this fluid's coming out. So I'm just trying to make it a little less messy for myself, hopefully. We'll be getting to the thermostat next. I'm also just taking off this reservoir here because there is extra fluid in there. So you go ahead and pop that sucker out, and then I will be able to empty all the fluid that was in there too. Here is the thermostat on my car. You can see they have this ground wire here that's not going to anything, so that's cool. And then the other ground wires, the properly grounded wires, are behind it here, still connected to that bolt. So this is the housing for the thermostat. The thermostat itself lies within there. There are a couple bolts, the ground, this one, and then this other one over here in the corner. So those 3 bolts, and then you undo those and you'll be able to take that whole piece and pop it off. Here obviously is the line that runs to down in there to the radiator, the bottom part of the radiator, you see it going down there. And of course the top hose puts back in the block. I'm going to be undoing those couple bolts, pop that off, we'll take out the old thermostat, and then I'll show you the new one. Just to show you guys where I'm at before I actually start cranking on this thing. I always feel like in engine bay videos, you never know where the hell you're looking. So I'm starting back here so that y'all can see, for those of you who don't know. So the wrench I've got down on one of the bolts for the thermostat, I just put it underneath this hose here, and I have an extension, then a 10mm on it. So I'm just putting the camera now on top of the air intake tube, so you know where I'm sitting, and just pop this guy loose. Whoop, sorry. Set you back up here. Sorry. Very unprofessional. Okay. So, got this guy on the bolt. Just gotta break that loose. There we go. I think. Don't mind that little red thing off in the corner. That's just from my Gorilla Pod. Feed the wrench down onto next bolt. That guy is already kind of loose. And finally, the last bolt down here near the block. See if I can grab the thing. This air box was totally in my way. I went ahead and took the top part of the box with the filter, just sitting over there, off of the tube so that I could try to get my wrench down in here, and still in the way was this radiator hose that's going to the lower part of the radiator. So I had already drained the coolant, so I just took that crap out. It is out of my way, and I was finally able to get in here to break that bolt free down in there. So I'm gonna be taking that off now. All right, and so as I had just wiggled it loose, some fluid started coming out. So I had to move my box real quick. Thankfully I had the cardboard down there, so nothing got anywhere. The part is still on. I'm just gonna be taking it off entirely now. Situate you guys there. Sorry if that makes you dizzy and sick. Gotta just feed these bolts off here. I can hear it running more underneath already, but I've got my box down there, so it's totally cool. It's finally ready to come off. Blah. Lots of disgusting in there. Goodness gracious. So that is the cap off. The old thermostat should be down in there. I gotta just kind of work it out now so you can see a little better. Ew, look at that. And then the open hole down in there. I'm gonna get that thermostat out now. Found out why there was a problem with the thermostat, because there is the old gasket that you can see was all nasty, but the biggest problem was, there was no thermostat in there to begin with. Yeah, there was no thermostat in there. So I am smart and went ahead and already got my new one anyway, because I planned on running a thermostat. Weird, huh? But this is a Stant thermostat. Pick it up at Advanced Auto. Like I said, it was like 14, 15 bucks, something like that. Brand new piece. This little guy here. Nice and new. And then I got my brand new gasket as well. Obviously I would have done that, but that other one was severely chewed up and gross. So I'm gonna put this back in, and man, the engine should run much better. I mean, it's gonna be actually efficient and cool itself. So wow, very cool. I got the light going here on the camera so you can see this. This is the new gasket for the new thermostat. The gasket has this little groove right down the middle of it here. I think you can see it real well in the light now. That's where the metal part here goes. So that goes over top, and then you kind of feed it down into there so that there's gasket on both sides of this. Now you see there's this little pinhole thing up at the top here, and then there is a like cutout up at the top of this. That's how that's gonna go. I'm sorry, one thing I did not note right off the bat, these two little ridges here at the top, these do go on the back
side. You see them better in the light there. These two little ridges. They do go on the back side of the thermostat. You'll see in the housing, there's two little notches at the top, and that's where this little pin cutout goes, and these two notches you'll see in a sec. So back at the thermostat, I'm gonna try to get my camera down in here, you guys. I'm sorry. You can kind of see these two little notches up in the top here. That's where those pieces are gonna go. Golly, that looks nasty. So you see where I'm putting the gasket in, the two ridges up at the top, the little pin guy up at the top. Pop that in there. Then the cap, gonna go back over top of it, just kind of hold it in place. The cap is back on. Just to point out, this sensor here, I never unplugged it. Some people do. I didn't find that I needed to. So just, again, those couple bolts, this one and the one in the corner, boop, thing came off. Found no thermostat behind there, but I put one in, obviously. You can kind of see it poking back in there, that little shiny piece. So, hooray for thermostat. Now I'm going to start connecting everything back up. Everything's back together. Thermostat in, the only one this car has seen for all I know. Airbox back on. Now to go back under the car. You remember, here's Mr. Box holding all the fluid. You remember this little guy here with the drain. Gotta make sure to tighten that back up. You can see there are threads there. I'm just tightening that back up so that when we put our new coolant in, it all doesn't just pee out the bottom. Everything is buttoned up, and just so you know too, I did put the reservoir tank back in there for you keen observers. So I've got my antifreeze here, gonna be filling this guy back up, and really it's just kind of fill it up until the radiator gets full. It goes up to the top, and then fill the reservoir until the max fill line. So it's 1 gallon in here. Online, they were saying like half a gallon or just over half a gallon. I'm gonna start filling and we will see. All right, so filled it on up. You can see it's right up at the top here. And then filled up my reservoir. Cap goes on. And just so you know, it was like close to the gallon. I don't know what in the heck I was reading online there that said half a gallon. That guy is all filled up. So we take Mr. Cap and place it back on there. Nice and snug. And there, good to go. So that wraps up the episode for today. In the next episode, I'll be turning the car on for you and give you the update on how the thermostat worked out. Hopefully I did it correctly. I'm pretty sure I did. There will probably be another update before the track as well. Travis and I are both doing the Wildwood high temp brake fluid, so I'm sure you'll be seeing us bleeding the brakes in an upcoming episode and putting that fluid in. And I also need to adjust the O2 sensor still. It is throwing the car into limp mode, as I told you earlier, and it's just revving to 5,500. So I know it can go past that. We've already seen that. I need to take care of the O2 sensor And any other little things that I can think of, you'll be seeing in that episode as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I love doing these videos for you guys. I hope you enjoy watching them. If you have any suggestions or anything, constructive suggestions, constructive criticism, I will take it. Yeah, I love talking to y'all in the comments. So talk to you soon and see you later.